Hey guys, we're here in the Lunkerhunt booth. This is Tackle Warehouse first look at ICAST. I'm here with Lunkerhunt Pro Erik Luzak. Erik, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, man. Yeah, appreciate you being here.
Yeah, and we're here to take another look at. We did an interview with Matt Airy on some of the other new Lunkerhunt products.
Yeah, he stole some of my favorites, but I got some good stuff to show you still.
What a guy with friends like that.
I know, right?
Yeah. So first up, we have some new a new size, right, in the crankbait.
Yeah, a new lip. So this is the Impact Jolt 10F. So we had the 8F, which was dived to 8 feet. This dives to 10 feet. So this is a flat-sided square bill crankbait. And in my opinion, one of the deepest square bill flat-sided crankbaits I've ever seen. So I personally tested this. I actually got one of the early samples in. I was throwing it around down here in Florida over the winter, and it works great. It's a really tight wobble. It dives to 10 feet, right? And that's an actual 10 feet. Like I was watching that thing. That's not like, oh, depending on what line you have. I was getting to 10 feet and 12-pound test every single time. Stays 10 feet all the way to the boat. Works great right out of the package. Really excited about this one.
Very cool. You know, I mean, that's always been a challenge, is making sure that you get good deflection on a crankbait at that depth. It's never been a problem with the square bill, but trying to get down into that lower depth is really cool.
It's a deep square bill. It's really neat.
I have another question. Where were you finding 12 feet of water in Florida?
There's a few holes around here, a few springs for sure. I am excited about some of these colors here too. This is one of my favorite here. This is the shock yellow. I like this a lot. It really stands out in the stain color. And I was holding up the bone earlier. I'm a big fan of white. It looks more like a shad. And then you're holding one of my favorites too, the gill. So that's a really popular one for me.
That's a great looking gill. Almost a yellow perch color too.
Yeah, it can cross over for sure. So the northern lakes, that's what I throw most of the time.
Very cool. So this is the Lunkerhunt 10F square bill crankbait. That's available for pre-order right now on tacklewarehouse.com. Let's get on to the next one. This is a super interesting little lure. This is the new knocking jig, right?
Yeah.
And this is like no jigging spoon I've ever seen.
Yeah, exactly. And I've been, people are looking at it like, what the heck's going on here? Well, you just got to give it a quick wiggle, and you see what's going on right away. And if you can hear that, but it makes a good knocking noise. So it's got a stainless steel shaft in the middle, and then we've got two. Obviously, we have the jig cut in half here with specially designed wings on either side. So when it flutters to the bottom naturally on a slack line, it pulls it up, and when you tighten and jig it, it slams it back down, making that noise. So that's a pretty neat bait right there. Available in lots of different colors. We got 2 sizes. We got even some saltwater colors if you're interested in that. But I'm more interested in some of these for jigging for either deep bass, or if you're into the ice fishing thing as well. Works really great.
Very cool. There hasn't been much in terms of sound in jigging spoons over the years. There were a few rattling baits, but never a knocking bait like this. That's a really interesting sound that's going to give the fish another look when you're doing some vertical fishing.
It's different. It has flash, it has the sound, and it has that flutter. So it's kind of all together. Late winter when those fish start stacking up in those deep pools and you want to get right on top of those big old largemouth, you flutter that over the head, and it's pretty deadly.
That looks like an everything catcher to me.
Yeah, it does.
Very cool. So again, that's the new Lunkerhunt knocking jig, and this is going to be available soon at tacklewarehouse.com. Check it out. What do we have next? We have an interesting little wire bait here. Tell us about this.
Yeah, this is the Finesse. So we actually already had the Finesse line last year with the Finesse swim bait, and that's essentially what that is. We've added the wire arm to it. So it's mainly turned it into a spinnerbait. Really cool. You see it's got a hinge on it too, so it's flexible, so you can kind of bump it off bottom and whatnot. It becomes a little small spinnerbait. I like this one for smallmouth bass up north big time, or even largemouth bass when you got to get a little finesse and a little bit tougher for them, but it's more weedless because of that wire arm. And if you really want, you can get creative, and it does clasp on and off, so you can change that up, change the weight, and kind of make it your own custom deal if you want. And it does have, if you see here, a little mini willow blade in the front and a Colorado in the back. So
very cool. Over the years I've experimented with taking skirts off of spinnerbaits and putting a swim bait on there, and it never looks quite right until you get that articulation of the arm and the head. So that's really cool. This type of bait has always been a pond special, but really, this could be a big fish catcher.
Up north for sure. I mean, micro baiting is a term that's been coined recently. It's a strange one, but it's a thing. This is a micro swim bait now with the extra flash of the blades on top. It's an absolute big smallmouth bass killer, and I've got some big largies on this too.
That's very cool. Remind us again of the name of this?
This is the Lunkerhunt Finesse wire arm spinnerbait.
Finesse wire arm spinnerbait, available soon at Tackle Warehouse. Check it out. And we have seen some very unique stuff today. Lunkerhunt's really leading the charge. Tell us about this contraption.
So this is called the Boshi blade. So it is essentially an underspin jerkbait. As far as I know, it's the first of its kind in the market. It took us a while to design this one to get it all to work with the blade underneath and to still have the right action and the right castability. So what we ended up with was actually, this is a polycarbonate blade rather than metal, and that was to help with the castability, the weight of it, and the action. And it also gave us the creativity to be able to turn it into whatever color we wanted. So this one kind of matches this bone color. We have other ones that have more of a foil, silvery flash to the blade, but essentially it is an underspin on a jerkbait to add flash, to add attractant, to add vibration, noise, all of that. So what I find with this, it casts a mile. It has all the internal components as your normal high-end jerkbait, where the balls roll to the back to cast and roll back to the front, to dive deeper. But as you're reeling it in, that blade is almost counter-rotating with the lure and creating one heck of a cool action, a wobble as it comes in. And then if you want to use it as a jerkbait, which it is designed for, it does a full switchback. It really almost has a 180 look back, and then you jerk it and boom, 180 the other way. And that's the part of the blade actually creates that resistance to really help it spin around. So it's a really cool bait. I'm calling this the sleeper of 2021 ICAST because it's going to start catching fish, and people there's a lot of cool new baits out here. We have the new skitter lizard, everyone's looking at that, but this one's going to be a dynamite lure.
As you were talking about this bait being able to actually spin around, what I was thinking was live sonar.
Yeah.
Have you used this in conjunction with live sonar yet?
Yes. Yes, I have.
And
yeah.
you don't want to talk about it?
No, I don't want to talk about it.
All right, we'll move right on. I'm sure it doesn't work very well. So yeah, definitely in conjunction with the new live sonar craze, this is going to be a great lure to make sure you're staying in that fish's
One important thing to add is it's a floating jerkbait, and actually I like that because I'm being getting in the trend more of weighting my own jerkbaits as I want. So sometimes you want it to float, you can fish it shallower. You can absolutely add suspend strips, add some wire to the weights if you want, or to the hook, to get it to suspend and even sink if you want. But something about that floating jerkbait drives those shallow smallmouth bass nuts for me.
Very cool, and looks like some premium hooks on there as well.
Those are premium hooks, absolutely.
You were gesticulating at it, and I was afraid for you. I thought I was going to have to perform some surgery.
Yeah, it's just been sticking me all day.
So check that guy out. Yeah. This is the Underspin jerkbait.
Yeah, the Boshi blade.
Boshi blade Underspin jerkbait from Lunkerhunt, available soon at Tackle Warehouse. And we got one more thing left to talk about, and this is something that just looks like fun.
It does,
we got a bunch of ponds down here in Orlando, and Lunkerhunt has put together the pond pack.
Absolutely.
Tell us about this little guy.
Yeah, so it's a collaboration of a lot of different microbaits we have. Some of them are only available in this pack, actually. So we got a little curly tail grub here, a little swim bait, a little crawfish, and then a paddle tail grub, a crawfish, and a swim bait. And you can interchange it. It's got the blade. This blade's actually built in. That's poured into it. It's not articulating this one. It actually makes it a little bit easier for casting, being such a small bait. And yeah, it's great for panfish, it's great for all that, but there's a big craze in tiny baits for big fish right now. That's all over the internet if you haven't seen that yet. So this is something that I think is going to be really interesting in that world for sure.
Yeah, I mean, this just looks like a lot of fun to me.
Yeah.
I'm going to put this in my pocket. We'll be running out to the pond later tonight.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Eric, thanks so much for taking us through this. Everything here will be available soon at Tackle Warehouse, except for the crank, which is available now for pre-order. Please check that out. This has been Tackle Warehouse First Look live at ICAST with Erik Luzak. Eric, thanks so much for joining us from the Lunkerhunt booth. We'll see you next time.